you work 40 hours a week, you're a part-timer. 40 hours a week, you're not giving yourself a chance to make it. Level number 2 to me is a full-timer. A full-timer as an entrepreneur is somebody that works 60 hours a week. Now, level 3, I call it all the timer. All the timer is 80 hours a week. Is he out of his mind? Is he crazy? This isn't a video for everybody to watch. I'll have people that'll say, I worked 80 hours last week. That's good. But how hard did you work the week prior to that? And the following week, when you have a birthday party coming up, how hard are you going to work every week? This is not 1 week. You may have a week you don't feel like working, and then all the time, or whether you feel like it or not, they show up. If you're only working, and you're going into like the whole rat race, if you're just working, and your identity isn't growing, nothing changes. If you're working, figuring out, solving, learning, growing, then you're constantly going to new heights. Level 1, if you average 24 books a year, that's a part-time. Average CEO reads 56 books per year. If you read 8 books a month, you're an all-the-timer. You're constantly feeding your mind. I'm talking real business books that's growing your mind on solving problems and issues and how that person did this. That's an all-the-timer. Listen, a part-timer changes industries as quickly as an 18-year-old changes boyfriends and girlfriends. It's just a new industry again. Real estate didn't work, I'm going to go do this. This didn't work, I'm going to go do that. That didn't work, I'm going to go do this. A full-timer changes industries every 5 to 10 years. And then they never, ever really fully understand what their capacity is. The all-the-timer, 20 to 40 years, one industry. Jeff Bezos is one industry. Berkshire Hathaway, they show up, and they never got into technology. They stuck to insurance. Everybody called them boring. Everybody called them all this type of stuff. One industry, they stuck to it. It doesn't matter. It's what industry. Now, you have to be an entrepreneur. That is definitely, you need to be an entrepreneur. But an entrepreneur may also be somebody that gets with the company and they become an executive of a CEO, whoever it is. I mean, Steve Ballmer, a great example. He gets started with Microsoft in 1980. Eventually, he's worth $22 billion, owns the Clippers, and he was not the founder of Microsoft. But he was somebody that all the time, when he was a value guy, chose one industry. He didn't have a lot of distractions. He kept on showed up to work. So now, well, what if you do all that stuff? Can it still go wrong? Yeah, of course it could. Let me explain what thing. If it's only a want for you to become a millionaire, it's not a must, kiss a goodbye. Everybody wants to become a millionaire. If it's a must, you'll do it. Next, focus. How focused do you stay? Ambition, desire.
There's 2 things I know about desire. Number 1, it comes from inside, not outside. Number 2, I know desire can be triggered by something. Maybe it's a book. Maybe it's a sermon, a seminar. Maybe it's the conversation of a friend, a happening, an event. Who knows?
The only thing that's going to give you ambition and desire is you're right here. Do you truly want this to become a reality? Marriage, who you pick as a partner is very important. This is going to play a very big role. You have a chip on your shoulder. You know, I didn't have any problems growing up. There's no chip. I don't have a chip. You know, it may not be that important. Bezos had a chip. Steve Jobs had a chip. Is there a chip on your shoulder? Who is your enemy? Is it somebody you want to prove right or prove wrong? Maybe your mom or dad sacrificed so much you want to prove right that the decision they made was right. Do you have to prove to somebody? Maybe you yourself, the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror, you got to prove that person right or wrong. Friends, association, do you constantly revert back to friends and associations that teach you the bad habits? Do you constantly revert back to bad habits? Do you do that? So my challenge to you would be this. Success is not a part-time thing. It's not a full-time thing. It is an all-the-time thing. In any industry, you gotta be an all-the-timer. If you're not an all-the-timer, you maybe become a fan. There's a lot of fans of Steve Jobs. There's a lot of fans of Stephen Curry. There's a lot of fans. You can become a fan, or you can become a player. You gotta be all-the-timer.